So I wanted to make this video real quick to kind of discuss tools, tool grades, and just utilization for plastic model building. I'll start off with the lowest grade tools that you can possibly buy. They absolutely work. They're not ideal, but if you're not a adamant builder and you're just kind of a casual builder, they'll work just fine. Good thing to have is a pair of nips. These right here, I believe were like $8 to $10 there at the Hobby Lobby. They work. They do not work well. I used these for I think 2 kits before I got completely burnt out on them, but they absolutely will work. If you look at the way they cut, very stressed, and that will show up on your kits, particularly on darker colors. Black being the absolute worst as far as getting rid of nub marks on a kit if you don't intend on painting it. These I now use for cutting the larger portions of the nubs, and I'll show you a mid-grade cutter. These ones are made by Despia, I believe is the way you pronounce it. I'm not sure. There we go. These ones right here are definitely a much higher grade. If you look at the cut portion of them, it almost completely gets rid of that nub. Not completely, but almost there. Whereas these ones, you'll notice the difference between those two. Big chunked out portion there, whereas the other one right there is almost invisible. A few seconds of sanding on that, or another option which I will show you, and that can be completely gotten rid of. The third one I actually have never used. This is my reveal on it. These are God hands, and these are rather pricey, but I hear there's nothing like them on the market, so let's see how that goes. Oh wow, definitely a big difference in a high grade nipper. Those are actually super incredible. This is just a cheapo hobby knife. You can pick these up for a couple of bucks. This one actually came with the Despia set, which I'll show you momentarily. This thing's a great little hobby knife. It actually comes with a bunch, and I have not run out just yet of disposable blades. I really like this hobby knife. It works great. This one's a little bit higher grade. It's an X-Acto knife. The blade is a little bit bigger. You get more use out of it because of that. You can be a little bit more precise in your cuts as well because of the size of the blade. This one actually has a chipped tip and needs to be changed. Blades on these are pretty reasonably priced. I also do really like the rubbery grip on it. It just makes for a better handhold. Any of these knives really will do, but I would definitely recommend the X-Acto. The blades seem to stay sharp longer. Just a little bit more usage out of it, I would say. What I like to do after running my nippers through the runner is I like to just take that little bit of excess there, take my blade flat up against the surface that I'm working with, and just very lightly scrape any large excess pieces off of it. Seems to work really well. Obviously this is the cheaper blade, you just saw it'll work. The X-Acto knife is a little bit more precise. However, you have to be really gentle with it because it is so sharp. You can actually mar up the edges of it. And then finally what I like to do is take a higher grit 400 and give that area a quick sand. Kind of use my hand to feel the surface. That allows me to know whether or not that nub is completely gone and removed. I'll move up to an 800, give that another real quick sand. I don't really have a preferring like sanding method. Some people will say go completely one direction, others will say circles, some will say cross hatching. I think it's all rather effective as long as you just kind of sand lightly and let the paper do the work. And then we'll finish this guy off with a 1200 to kind of polish it out. So 4, 8, and 12, those are the three grits that I prefer to use. You can use higher or lower grits. I wouldn't really go any lower than 400 personally. It leaves a lot of lines in it, and it takes a whole bunch of effort to sand it with finer and finer and finer grits. So I feel it's kind of a waste of time process-wise. Again, with these nippers, the difference is monumental. You get this. That is the Despia, and then finally with these God hands, which these things are like butter. You get a really clean cut out of that. Now I'll do another one with this guy so you can kind of get a bit more of a visual. You see that edge, it's not very clean. Whereas this is super smooth. This one is really jagged, and it more or less almost seems as though it just sort of tears through the runner. As I was saying with this Despia kit, which I bought this one a while back, and I've done well over a dozen Gundam with this particular kit. And that includes cutting, sanding, scraping, all of that. This kit comes with a multitude of sanding sponges. It comes with a couple, and you can't really quite see them any longer because I have covered them with the sanding paper that it came with. But it comes with a couple of carbon fiber sanding boards. And then these, which are reminiscent to me of like nail files, and these come in a multitude of grits as well. This is a fun little tool. It's actually a glass file, which means if you drop it, it will break. It's rather fragile, but it works really well for polishing up pieces, particularly whites and blacks. Comes with a pair of like little foldable scissors. These are great for cutting out water slide decals and things of that nature. I don't really think there's much of any use for them other than that. These are great for the small decals, particularly in like real grade kits. They're very fine tweezers. And I mean super fine. I don't want to poke myself too much with them because you will bleed. They're insanely fine. Comes with those. In a curved pair, which is great for getting into weird spots. I use these more often than I thought I actually would. It also comes with a parts puller, which I have used more than I would like to admit, honestly. But it is actually a fantastic little tool. It keeps from marring up all of the pieces, which will be noticeable where two pieces go together, particularly on like shoulders and things of that nature. Obviously the nippers that I showed you guys, which are a fantastic mid-grade nipper, and they're incredible for their price. A hobby knife, blade cover, and then a sort of a capillary action pen, which I've admittedly never used. It's much like a quill pen, and I assume you could probably use it for doing things like adding ink to it and doing little panel lining I'll probably test that out later on and see if it's actually effective or not. But I have no input on that one at the current moment. I actually broke my case, unfortunately, which wasn't easy to do either. I dropped it from a pretty substantial distance, but it actually comes with an entire case where everything's really nice and organized, and I'm very much into organizing all of my tools, so I know where they are. It just makes the whole process of building go a bunch easier. So I think it's a great little kit, and it's a great little mid-grade kit too. I mean, everything that you get in there, you're going to actually have to start spending double, triple that kind of money to get anything better quality than it. So I think it's a great little mid-grade kit for somebody who is kind of a, I would say, casual to intermediate builder. But yeah, if you have any questions or things of that nature about varying tools, products, feel free to comment below and ask me, and I will get back to you on those as soon as I possibly can. Love to help everybody get into the hobby and really enjoy themselves, because I know I do.